What's up everyone? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're gonna do a different style video. I love podcasts, I love listening to podcasts, and I've always wanted to have my own, but I don't have the right equipment and stuff, so I'm just gonna start doing some video style, like long talking segments. I love to talk, I talk all day long, and I feel like this will be a very fun, just a different addition to my channel. I used to do a type of video called My Current Thoughts, where I just sat and talk about my current thoughts, because I feel like everyone's thoughts and opinions are constantly changing and evolving, so that's why I called it that. This is basically that, but it's gonna be called My Fake Podcast, and that way people know that it's not just like a long sit down video for no reason. It's basically a podcast, but not just YouTube videos styled in a podcast. I'll still be doing regular videos, but anyways, today's topic is a burning topic, especially in my life, because if you know me, you know I love Paytas. She has a podcast with Klein from H3H3. It was posted every Tuesday. It was called Frenemies, and it was basically the only thing I look forward to every week. Basically, they got in this huge fight. I'm gonna explain everything in this video and my opinion on it and why I'm on Trisha's side. And don't worry, I've watched every single video made about the subject. I don't know why, but it seems that I'm the only person on earth on Trisha's side. I've watched Trisha ever since I discovered YouTube when I was like 12. I remember watching videos of her crying on her kitchen floor and telling myself that if I ever met her, I would just want to give her a huge hug and just be her best friend. I just understand her and empathize with her and sympathize with her, and I relate to her. I get her, or at least I feel like I do, because I've been watching her for so long and I've been through every phase with her, every relationship with her, every scandal with her. I've literally been through it all, so I feel like I understand her well. When Frenemies began, I was really happy because everyone sort of became fans of Trisha, and so it's like when you're kind of following an artist for a long time and then they have a hit song and then it blows up and then they become like super famous and everyone starts to love them. That's how it felt like with Trisha. So that's just a little summary of my standing Trisha background. Now, here's what happened. Towards the end of their most recent podcast titled Talking About Gabby Hanna, Trisha started talking about a movie called Brokeback Mountain and trying to advocate for trans rights, while Ethan was sort of just ignoring her and moving on from the topic. Now, I was a viewer of Frenemies every week. This is where I started to see that Trisha may have gotten a little upset with Ethan because she's always following his ideas and his topics, and she always comes with a list of topics, but they often get shut down by Ethan. So basically, Ethan was kind of shutting down her idea of talking about trans rights in the Brokeback Mountain movie and wanted to transition to a new segment, which was like fan advice segment column, I guess. She said that this was a dumb idea, and I get why she said that, because she wanted to talk about what she was wanting to talk about, and then Ethan was kind of just shutting it down and talking about something else, and so she's like, that's dumb, I want to talk about this. So this was Sam, the new employee's idea that Trish didn't know about. Therefore, Ethan thought that Trisha was criticizing Sam's work on planning the segment, therefore criticizing his employees and being rude to them. Trisha then started talking about how this is a lazy podcast, and if they're just gonna do a Q&A, then it's just boring and lazy, basically. And then Ethan said, how is that lazy? You're the lazy one, you don't do any of the work for the show. May I remind you, she's not his employee, she's just there for Frenemies. His employees and his staff works probably the whole week on H3 content, which is the channel that it's on. They have a bunch of other podcasts. So she's not one of your staff like AB or Ian or Dan. But every week, from what I see as a fan on the show, she does come with a list of various topics to talk about, because that's what the podcast is. Trisha and Ethan just sit side by side and talk, and it's called Frenemies because they do fight and they are friends and now gonna be related, which makes it a whole nother complicated layer because Ethan's wife's brother is marrying Trisha. So it's like family and it's complicated, but that's why the show's called Frenemies, because Trisha and Ethan have very strong personalities and they fight. So my theory is going to come at the end of what I think is going to happen with the show. So basically, after that podcast aired, Trisha made a video, and then Ethan made a video, and then Trisha made like thousands of more videos, because that's just what she does. And also, my opinion from the beginning has always been standing on Trisha's side. So nothing of Ethan's has convinced me. I have all my like own ideas. It's not like, oh, Trisha made this video, so that's why I'm like this, and then Ethan made this video, so now I'm on her side. Like, I've always been on Trisha's side. And Ethan claimed some pretty false claims, in my opinion. Basically, in Ethan's video, like rebuttal video against Trisha, he was stating all these claims, and he said that Trisha sent a bunch of her fans to basically harass and threaten Ethan's crew, and he said that Trisha wanted to fire his whole crew and everything like that, but no one seems to be on Trisha's side in the first place. So I don't know where these fans of Trisha's even came from. I just don't think Trisha's fans were giving as much hate as Ethan's army of foot soldiers were giving to her fans and her. Based on the replies and arguments I got into with Ethan's fans, I think that a lot of them are evil, mean-spirited people, just based off of the comments on YouTube and TikTok between me and them. Also, I get that H3 can survive without Trisha, but Frenemies would not be what it is without her, and a lot of the comments were like, oh, they'll do fine without Trisha, blah blah blah, like he can get a new co-host, but Frenemies will not be successful without Trisha. I am just stating that right now. H3 was big before Trisha, but Frenemies would not be anything without her. She made that show what it is. It's big and successful because of her and Ethan, but not without Trisha. Now, regarding his comment about how Trisha said that she wanted to fire all the employees, she did not say that from what I know and have seen as a viewer. Regarding hiring some new employees, however, I think Trisha just felt left out and isolated from the H3 group, and as Frenemies began to grow and get bigger, just as a podcast, it became really popular, and it seemed like they needed some more employees just to work on Frenemies. So, based on the popularity and growth of Frenemies because of Trisha, I think that they just needed a couple extra crew members for that show. And that's what Trisha was saying. And she was giving out ideas of who it could be, maybe her sister, or maybe some other producer people that she knows, or some camera work people that she knows. That way on Frenemies, there's Ethan's people and Trisha's people, and they can work together, so it's half and half, because that's what the show is. It's Frenemies. Half side is Pink and Trisha, and half side is Black and Ethan. And that way, having a few more crew members on the show might just help Frenemies run more smoothly. And another thing people were talking about that they found Trisha to be insensitive for was saying that Ethan kind of uses recycled H3 content. She mentioned Keemstar and Ethan and Hila's pregnancy, but a lot of people got that misconstrued, I think. The pregnancy announcement was not recycled content. She said the title was. And I agree with her, because they titled a lot of episodes on the H3 channel and the highlights channel about Hila's pregnancy, and that's amazing and great and wonderful, and I'm so excited for them. They may be having triplets. Like, they should celebrate as much as they want. However, I think Trisha's point about that was that they had already titled and talked about the pregnancy with Hila and with the H3 cast, everything, and then on Frenemies he titled the episode pregnancy announcement, and Trisha's like, well, you already titled some things that we didn't only talk about that like on the podcast, and also it's not like Trisha was pregnant, so people come to Frenemies to watch both of them. And I think it would be different if they had Hila on and talking about like pregnancy announcement on that, but it wasn't the announcement because they already had announced it. But Trisha said that they could have titled it like, oh, Ethan's pregnancy announcement, something like that. Even if it's just a slight change, it still makes the difference, I guess. Also, as a viewer, I just think that she was so frustrated at that point, and she didn't realize how insensitive that could have come across, considering all the trouble that Ethan and Hila had gone to get even pregnant. I don't think that part of it was a huge deal. It was just like a little side thing that happened in their fight and in their public online feud as well. And that was just kind of my take on it. Also, I'm on Trisha's side because I empathize with her and understand how she felt and why she said some of the things she did, because in the episode Ethan continually just ignored her and denied how she felt, and a lot of people had discrepancies on whether he was gaslighting her or she was gaslighting him. But Ethan seemed to be trying to tell Trisha how she felt and wasn't validating her at all. He clearly just ignored her, especially when they started talking about that, and that's why it kind of spiraled into what the fight was. And I genuinely just don't understand how so many people are on Ethan's side, and it seems like nobody's on Trisha's side. Like, no one I talk to in person is on Trisha's side. No one I talk to online is on Trisha's side. Like, I don't understand where like Trisha's fans are. If you're a true Trisha stan, which I don't know where you guys are because no one is agreeing with me in person or online or anything about this, everyone's on Ethan's side and thinks Trisha's in the wrong and she needs mental help and all this stuff. Oh, also in Ethan's video to bring up Trisha's past comments and mental health issues, I think was just extremely toxic of him, because it villainizes Trisha for stuff she's apologized for and stuff she's worked on. She's gotten help and changed so much since then for the better. It's like this whole cancel culture is just so awful because it doesn't leave room for any grace or forgiveness or willingness to even understand someone. Like, everyone's calling her crazy and delusional and all these things, like, oh, she needs to get help. And it's like, I don't find anything wrong with what she was saying. I understand why she said the things she did and the things that she said out of anger she apologized for, so I don't really see what the problem is. Also, I don't think Ethan was as clear to her as it may appear about just all the financial stuff that went behind the scenes, which as a production company, I feel feel like he should have been. But this is not my drama, and that's just my opinions on this. If you guys would like to argue with me in the comments below, feel free to do so. As of now, I stand with Trisha and understand her and validate her. I don't think Ethan is this great, amazing, non-problematic person that everyone seems to think he is right now. So here's my conclusion on what I think they're gonna do with the show. I think an amazing idea would be that they just both kind of take a break, pause, collect their thoughts, take a breath, you know, maybe take a weekend or a week or a couple weeks, come back to Frenemies. If they really want to end it, do a season finale where they just kind of talk it out, and at the end they become, like they say, like, oh, and that's why we're frenemies, because we fight and we're still friends, but due to all the drama or whatever, we're gonna end the podcast. Something like that. I feel like that would be amazing and good closure for all the Frenemies fans, and they could say that they're still gonna sell the merch, because that's another layer. They have all this merch that was supposed to come out in like a month, and now they just kind of quit the podcast. But I feel like if they do a season finale and maybe do something again in the future, then that would be better and beneficial for everybody. But yeah, overall, those are my thoughts on the Frenemies breakup situation. I really hope you guys enjoyed my first little My Fake Podcast episode. I love you so much, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.